everybody, welcome back to my channel. In today's video I wanted to show you how I made this bear pancake squishy inspired by the puni maru one and the rilakkuma one. So to start off with, I took a car wash sponge and I just kind of took the bit that I had left over, which was basically just half a car wash sponge, and just drew out the kind of rough shape of the squishy that I wanted to make. I just used a fine liner for this so that it wasn't so prominent as a Sharpie pen. I usually use a Sharpie pen, but sometimes the pen can seep into the foam and you don't want that, and it's hard to kind of cover up, so I just used a fine liner this time. And what I did was basically just draw out 2 circles on top of a large oval to make the bear shape that I wanted for the pancakes. So what I then did was just roughly cut this out. I basically just cut out really big angular shapes just to get the majority of the sponge off. Now you don't have to use a car wash sponge if you don't want to. You can use other type sponges like dish sponges, memory foam, anything that you have handy. I always prefer using memory foam as it's a lot easier to paint and stuff, but I've decided to use other things in my tutorials as I know a lot of people can't get memory foam. So like I said, once I was done with those big chunks and getting rid of most of the foam that I wanted to get rid of, I then went in my scissors doing really kind of small sharp snips and just really smoothing out that shape, going over with loads and loads of little long snips to kind of remove as much excess as possible and to smooth out all the edges as smooth as basically I could get them. So once I was happy with the overall smoothness of the shape, I went in with the very tip of my scissors and pointed them at a 90-degree angle, and I just started snipping away really small and just making a thin line all the way around. What I then did with my scissors was kind of smoothed out either side of that, so it looked like that the top part was added onto the main part, and then I went ahead and did that again in the middle of the other part as well, so that I was left with 3 sections which would make up the pancake shapes. So like I said, I just kind of made that one line around, and then I smoothed out either side of that one line to kind of round it out and make it look like it was 3 separate sections. Once all 3 separate sections were then created, I then took my scissors and rounded out the top edge and the bottom edge also. At this point I also made sure to cut off any pen, as to be honest, I couldn't really be bothered to cover it up with loads of layers of paint, so I just made sure to snip that all off to make sure that it wouldn't show through the paint. What I then did was took a whole load of white puffy paint, mixed in with a little tiny bit of PVA glue to make it go a little bit further, and I just kind of coated the whole of this shape with this white puffy paint. What I made sure to do was cover up all the little holes and basically just cover the whole entire thing, making sure I really focused in on those holes. So I did 2 layers of this white in total, and then I decided to mix up a brownie kind of colour. I used the red into the white puffy paint, added in a bit of yellow, and then a bit of brown fabric paint, also to kind of give it a nice kind of burnt feel to make the kind of brownie colour for the pancakes. Now this is showing up quite pinky on camera, but it was actually kind of like a burnt brown colour. I don't know, I think it was just the lighting at this time. I had my camera set really bright, but I think you kind of see it more in the intro and outro, that's the real colour. This was filmed a few days ago, as this squishy took me about 3 days to make, so yeah. Now as you can see, I am spreading this paint on with a Fimo clay tool. I do usually use a lollipop stick to smooth this on, as what you want to do is really smooth it on kind of like butter, rather than painting it on with a paintbrush and stuff like that, as it will enable you to get a thicker coat and to cover those air holes. Now with car wash sponge you will get bigger holes and bigger imperfections in your sponge because it's a cheaper sponge. With memory foam you'll have smaller kind of just closer together air bubbles, and they're much easier to cover than these ones. So when you're using car wash sponge you will use a lot more paint. But basically what you want to do is just cover the whole thing and making sure to cover all of those air holes. And as you can see here, I sped it up so you haven't got to spend 20 hours watching me cover it up. So once I was fairly happy with that coverage, I think I only did it once because it just took a lot of paint, and to be honest I didn't want to waste that much paint. So I then moved on with a lighter yellow colour and just put this like on the edges of the pancake where it was kind of flat, like the bit where I hadn't kind of cut that hole out, so just on the very edge of the pancake bits. I know that's really badly explained, but I hope you understand what I mean. But I basically just put that yellow colour on those ones. I feel like I could have mixed a better colour for this and made it a little bit more kind of like the original, but I don't know, I just went with this and it worked out okay. You kind of got the idea of what I was doing. So yeah, I just put this yellow colour on all 3 bits of the pancake, all around the edges of obviously the top one, the middle one and the bottom. Once I was completely done with this, I then let this to set for another day, and like I said, the squishy did take me about 3 days with drying time and stuff like that, as so much paint was having to be used because of the type of sponge I used. So what I then did was went in with a slightly lighter yellow colour, and I just drew out a rough rectangle on the top of the bear's head, and this was to act as kind of like the melted bit of the butter. I was only going to put 1 layer, but I did actually put 2, so I'll show you that one in a moment. What I then did was took some black and white puffy paint. This is all on the same day, don't worry. And what I did was took my dotting tool in the white and just kind of like spread it on where the nose was to be. And I did this messily because I know this is supposed to look like whipped cream, I do believe. So I just kind of like swirled my dotting tool to make it so I didn't have such a neat edge, and it was just kind of like a bit of cream popped on there. And I then took my dotting tool again with the black puffy paint and just did 2 eyes above this nose part. Now the eyes on mine were on air bubbles, so I did kind of have to tilt the squishy towards me and make sure that the eye looked right from looking like from the front, as if you look at it from another angle, part of the eye will be inside that air hole, and that was simply because I didn't put another layer of paint onto mine. But you can do that if you want to, but I felt like this turned out okay anyway, despite that. So yeah, like I said, I did put another layer of light yellow on the middle of that yellow rectangle at the top. And this was to create a more 3D effect on top of that yellow to make it look like a piece of butter had melted, and that was kind of like half a piece of butter still there. What I also then did was took the black puffy paint again and my dotting tool and just drew out the little nose on the nose part. Now I based this one off rilakkuma, and more rilakkuma than the original butter pancake squishy by Puni Maru, and I just wanted to do this as I feel like, I don't know, it just looks cute. So yeah, once that was all dry, my squishy was then complete. So I am super happy with how this turned out. This actually turned out really slow rising, especially considering the fact it was car wash sponge, so I'm really happy with how that turned out. Usually with memory foam I get the same sort of effect, so the fact that, you know, you get finger indentations in a car wash sponge is just amazing, and it's definitely helped out by all those layers of paint. So I just want to say a huge thank you to all my subscribers, especially yesterday as we hit 40,000, which I'm just so grateful for. It was about, I don't know, about half an hour after I posted my video, so yeah, thank you so much for that. A lot of people have been asking for a giveaway and stuff. I do believe I'm going to do one at 50k. I have got a little bit of a good idea, which will, you know, be lots of different things, so make sure it'll be definitely something that everybody likes, because obviously on my channel I do a lot of different DIYs. Also, a lot of people have still been asking me for that face reveal. I will be doing one very soon, don't you worry. just so long as I figure out a setup, there should be one definitely coming on this Sunday for something that's Sunday, so I hope you like it. So I just want to say a big thanks for watching, and hopefully I'll see you in tomorrow's video. Bye!